Hello and welcome back to Day of Today Gaming. I'm Kat, and today it's going to be a Cat's Corner. So I got a request during my last Cat's Corner where I painted Worm and Metalhead to paint the evil version of the turtles from the Deviation pack. Yes, so here are our normal evil turtles, since I have not painted them yet, obviously. That's what the whole stream is about. So I found something funny, is that all of these turtles have the exact same color scheme except for their skin, but their skin's just going to be normal green because I don't have anything to change that. I don't have any other weird colors of green anyways, so that works perfectly fine for me at least. So our characters for today are Michelangelo. He's the last one, with his nunchucks. Raphael with his size. He's the second to last character. Donatello with his bow staff. And we have Leonardo with one katana and one of Shredder's claw things. So he has a different weapon choice, but still. The other thing about these turtles is that if it weren't for their weapon, you probably wouldn't be able to tell them apart. Except for the fact that each one of their skins is slightly different color. It's so very slightly. Donatello is more on the brown side. Leonardo is like the brighter green. Michelangelo has like a little bit of blue mixed in, and Raphael is just somewhere between Michelangelo's skin tone and Leonardo's. But I'm not gonna even try to make their skin tone. They're just going to be green. Except I'm going to paint them all black first, and try to use very little green so that the color is not as powerful, I guess would be the best phrase. And I'll be right back because I forgot my paper towel. Oh wait, it's on the floor. That explains where my paper towel went. We have the paper towel all set up. So, I think I'm going to go in order of my favorite characters. So, Raphael and Leonardo are going to be first, and I'll figure out which one of the other two I want to do after the fact. So, let's see. We're just going to move you three up, and we'll start with Leonardo. And I just called him Raphael. He is definitely not Raphael. Though they're all wearing red, so... So this is what I'm trying to make. Lots of black and silver and red and green. And that's pretty much all the colors right there. I wonder exactly how much of the turtle I'm actually going to have to repaint after the fact. Considering. Because the turtles are already wearing so much black. So I think I'm probably going to end up having to paint them all black and then repaint them black. Just so I can make sure that I get all the correct. So that none of the black details get changed to a different color. La da 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 dun 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 dun. La da 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 dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. La da da. La da da. La da dun. Leonardo's starting to come out of his shell. Ha ha, turtle jokes. Very bad turtle jokes. He's not exactly coming out of his shell either, he's just getting painted. Well, he's definitely starting to come together. Well, at least the smaller figures are a lot easier to base paint. Except at the same time, they're hard too. Just that instead of a mass amount of space to paint, we have to paint little tiny areas that are hard to see. And try not to fill detail with unnecessary paint, because I normally do that in some way, shape, or form. Well, he's definitely starting to come together. He's definitely becoming the right shade I need him to be for his base paint. Well, for his first base paint, I should say. Because technically, he's going to become green sooner or later with green base paint. But he's definitely starting to look a lot better than he had been. Well, it looks like this character is almost done. Apparently I'm painting myself black already. That's a surprise. Normally it takes me just a bit longer than 10 minutes. At least it was just a little tiny bit instead of the glop that's normally on it. Now just double checking to make sure all details filled in. There we go. Here is the beginning of Leonardo. I'm just gonna sit over in the corner and dry while I get Raph ready. Well, Raph at least has a more open stance than Leonardo did. Though not by much. We'll start with the legs this time instead of doing what I did with Leonardo. Well, normally I'm a lot chattier, but I can't think of what to talk about today. Oh well, I can find something. Oh, Rath's eyes all bent. Evil turtles. I wonder how many times it's ever shown up in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle series. I know in the TV show it didn't show up quite as often as I would have liked. But I know it happened at least. I haven't read it, but it's probably happened at least a couple times in the comic books. No idea when, but it probably has. And then we have to. And then, besides that fact, how many. I know this happens in other series where the villains have to act like good guys, but has that ever happened in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Where the villains had to act like the heroes? Well, actually, I guess it has happened in TMNT, the movie, where I guess the person that kind of is like Karai uses the Foot Clan to try to save part of the city with the turtles from a monster that's trying to destroy everything, but still, I think there's probably more than just that. It's mainly villains do it to save their own hide. But yeah, villains can't be all bad. Even Joker has some good qualities. Somewhere. Probably. I have no clue what they are. One thing I can come up with is he's a homicidal maniac, but that's not exactly a good quality. Baxter Stockman became a fly. Again, don't know how that's a good quality. Especially since he doesn't want to be a fly. The turtles came into existence from mutagen. Except that's not a villain with good qualities. Wow, I really can't think of anything good to say about any of the villains from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I can't think of any slightly good qualities of any of the villains. It's kind of sad, I've got to say. It's just a little bit sad that I cannot come up with a single good quality about any of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle villains. I could probably come up with a few with the Deviations versions, but still. That's mainly because they're just the exact same turtles, but entirely evil, so I guess they're not the exact same because the turtles stand for everything good in the series. Or at least kind of do. I dropped him. don't want to drop him. I don't want to do anything to any of the, crap, I can't think of the word. I don't want to bend any more of the weapons than they're already bent. Considering his sai looks sideways. Try to fix it. Watch it just slowly go back into its position. Let's see, almost done here. Just gonna add a little bit extra to this leg because apparently it didn't get a nice coating to it. Apparently missed the bottoms of his feet too. Well, now I think Raphael's dry. Just need to clean my really black brush. Wow, it just started pouring outside. And I can't even see, I can just hear it. Oh, I have so much black paint on my brush. Well, I just need to clean more of it out. Well, that's better at least. Now let's see, Leonardo, are you dry enough for me to give you more paint? No, you are not. So we'll move on to another character. How about Michelangelo? He seems in need of painting. Okay. Just moving right along. Trying to get to Michelangelo. Fairly painted. So that I can paint my next figurine in the sequence. Which means I'm probably going to go back to Leonardo. Knowing me. I'm all over the place when I paint. And I just said when we paint. I am tongue-tied like usual. Oh, this is actually... Well, Michelangelo is actually turning out a lot easier to paint than the others. For some reason. I think it's just the way he's standing. His two arms aren't close together, or he's not leaning over the rest of his body for no good reason. He does look quite nice, though. Well, he's definitely looking better. Yeah, the nunchucks were no fun, but still. When are objects that form a ring or loop of some type any fun to paint? Well, it's a lot more entertaining than other things I do occasionally. Though, I can't wait to go to my grandparents' house so far. All my jewelry making stuff's over there. So's my lace making stuff. So no, when I go to their house, I'm probably going to either make jewelry, like earrings, since those are normally my favorite thing to make, or maybe I should try my luck at some lace again. Last couple times I've tried to make lace, didn't turn out so well. I'm trying to make a lace choker, but it's not working. It's all ended in failures. Though I'm not good at knitting or crocheting or most of the necessary skills to make lace that aren't machines. So it's no surprise. Well, Michelangelo's coming together. I wonder what the Dark Turtles' names would be if they got raised by somebody else other than Splinter. I wonder if their names would have changed. Does make me wonder. What would their name change to be? Or, question, did Splinter start raising the boys and then the boys got kidnapped by like Shredder or something? So they still had Leonardo and Michelangelo and all those names. They just ended up being raised by somebody evil instead. Though Shredder as a parent can't be all bad. Karai was pretty nasty, but she still grew up to be a nice lady until she mutated into a giant snake creatures in one of the series. I was so positive there was something going on between Karai and Leonardo. So sad it didn't end very well for either of them. She was a snake, and apparently his brother, because she was the human daughter of Splinter. But I'm not sure how many series that actually correlated with. And there we go with Michelangelo. Now, I know Leonardo's dry and all, but while I'm doing this, I might as well just get Donatello done. He's here and all, so. And I've already got the black paint out. Well, he's definitely coming together. Actually looking fairly pretty. Fairly pretty in black. I quite a bit like my black. But apparently I do like my weird reddish hot pinks. I've got very interesting color choices. But that's fine. It's fine to have one fingernail that's a bright hot pink and the other entire hand to be entirely black. Though I kind of regret painting them hot pink to begin with, because I prefer black. Should've stuck with black. Made more sense for my mood, too. Especially watching that. How everybody watching this is having fun. I know I am currently. Except the sad thing is, all I'm doing is painting black, so it isn't as entertaining as it sometimes is. Just can't wait to get to a section that isn't black. That's where the real fun begins. But it's fine if it takes a little while to get there. Just need to spread the paint just a little bit more. So I am finally almost done with painting Donatello entirely black. Just a little bit longer. And there we go. All 4 characters are now entirely painted black for their base coating. Well, that was a fun section, doesn't everybody agree? Painting 4 people entirely black to match my fingernails, or at least one hand of fingernails. Let's get the black out of my brush now. Since I get to switch to, well, we're probably going to say green because their skin tone is going to be horrible to try and match. And also because I don't want to be trying to paint their skin tone around their clothing. It's easier to paint skin tone first and then deal with everything else later. And for some reason, I'm sing-songy. Let's also reform my brushes because apparently they want to be pissed at me. Yeah, that will do. I'm gonna get a detail brush for this because we have very little room and all 3 of you are gonna move back slightly to dry. It's mainly Donatello and maybe Michelangelo that are drying, but still. Gonna need a lovely green. Well, the thing is, I can't use so much green. I can't use too much green because they all have weird complexions. So Leonardo is the lightest of the bunch, so this color might be a little too dark for him. Though I'm not fully sure what other color to use. So we're just gonna stick to this. Anyways, this is what color the normal turtles would be. Harder part is finding where exactly Leonardo actually has skin showing. Wow. Very precise locations, actually. good thing I'm deciding to paint black on any clothing pieces after the fact. Considering I'm pretty sure these guys' shells are actually black too. Which I find a little bit crazy, but yeah, their shells are painted black. But who am I to judge? I wear most black. Though right now it's dark green. But most of my closet is black or just very dark colors in general. With navies and dark greens, and there's some red. Because I'm sorry, I love black to no end, but I do need my pop of red. I always need my pop of red. But yeah, I'm making a butchered mess of green right now. It's because it's so hard where these locations are. It's like his head is going to be painted green. And truthfully, if I get his mask painted green, it's fine. I just have to repaint his mask after the fact. But if I can avoid having to repaint his mask, that's lovely. But if I don't, whatever. Truthfully, I'm probably still going to have to repaint it anyways. But very precise work. Well, that actually worked very well right there. But I do very much like how little skin is showing through this body armor. Wow, there's a very thin strip of where skin is shown. Wow. Huh. Interesting. Brush for hire. Hello to you two. I hope everybody's having a fun time. I am painting evil turtles. That sounds strange, but that is exactly what I'm doing. Though they're too green for my taste, whatever. Though surprisingly enough, I like how their black armor isn't as high up their legs and stuff. It would be. So, if anybody has any questions why I'm painting turtles, specifically evil turtles, this was a request from somebody on my last stream because I wanted requests on characters that people think I should paint. So, if anybody has any suggestions on characters I should paint to my next stream, A, that would be lovely, and B, if you need to know what characters I have, just ask and I'm willing to help. Because I have nothing better to do. This is my life currently. I don't need anything else. Now where are his toes? Because apparently just the tips of his toes are green too. Why do you have very little skin showing? Why do your toes have to be in very inconvenient locations? Do you ever really need a reason to paint turtles? No, it's not a yeah, I really don't. Because if I weren't painting turtles, I'd just paint something else, and I have enough figures. I've got this guy that I painted in the last stream. His name is Worm. He's a garbage creature. He was a pain in the butt to paint. But that's mainly because I had to paint him entirely black, then almost entirely blue. But yeah, I'm trying to do characters that we're going to either be playing with or things that I have gotten requests from. And if I wasn't painting stuff from TMNT, I'd probably paint some things from like Madara or something. So truthfully, if anybody has any requests on things or creatures or people I should paint from any games you know of that we have here, I have no problem with painting them. It's literally all about request people. Make comments on the YouTube, put them on our Discord. I know the suggestion box, I have no clue if it works, but there's that. Just different ways to give me different things to paint. Because I'm stuck here for at least half the summer. I'm going back between here and my grandparents' house. There's only so long I can stay at one of the two locations. Though I prefer my grandparents' house occasionally. But that's mainly because I get locked up here for most of the rest of the year. Because school. But that's fine, that's fine. Been there, done that. Now trying to paint Raphael. Why is so difficult? And why do you have to be so green? Oops. But to answer your question, Brush for Hire, no, I do not need a reason to paint turtles. I just need a reason of why I should do creatures that are other than turtles from TMNT. Like, if anybody has any suggestions for minions, I'd willingly do those too. Even if it means I have to do tons of mousers. Because here's the thing about me, is if you tell me you want some mousers done, I will do all of them. I will do one of every single mouser, then at some point I will paint the rest of them the exact same colors. Or maybe I just paint all the normal mousers, all like 25 of them at the same time. Ugh, I think I'd regret saying that. But that's just me. Now let's see. For Raphael. Well, there's parts shown on his shoulder, but I'm not going to try and paint those because I don't have the precision for that. But he does show a bit more muscle on his arms than Leonardo does. And still the upper part of his thigh. He's also still green. Trying to be detailed, trying to not mess up. Because I just dropped them again. Trying not to mess up, even though I'm gonna drop the characters at some point. because I do that a lot. Okay, Leonardo, you're going over there because you're on my way. Little tiny details that are hard to see. Because they're little details that are very hard to see. Okay, well, I gotta get going. Almost time for bed. Have a great stream. Thank you very much, Brush for Hire. And thank you for following us. Painting little characters is so much fun. It's only if you can paint them correctly. I always have the hardest time painting little tiny areas. Though I have fairly steady hands. For some reason. I think it's because I play with way too much wire when I'm making jewelry. And you've got to be very precise with wire. Because one, you could either end up cutting yourself with the pliers, or not twisting enough and it all falls apart. I had that happen while the earring was in my ear. Where apparently one part just was not screwed on, was not tightened to the point it needed to be, and it just fell. I don't know where the other part of that earring is either. So bad for that pair of earrings. The only thing about Raphael, is that he has a bit more finger showing than the others do. So we'll give him his bitty fingers. He's barely showing digits. On both hands. Well, that's the green done for Raphael. Now moving on to Michelangelo. And I dropped the card. Michelangelo has a lot of skin showing compared to other characters, because he doesn't have any shoulder pads, apparently. All the other characters have shoulder pads, except for him. Which is just a little bit strange, but at the same time, it kind of makes sense, because Michelangelo is a very free spirit. Can't force him to do anything he doesn't want to do. Unless you're Master Splinter. Or Raphael. Or Leonardo. Okay, you can force Michelangelo to do things that he doesn't want to do. Just not always on your terms. He kind of does what he wants sometimes. Though it works with his personality. So, most of his fingers. Good portion of his fingers are showing. But he looks so cute. For characters that are only black and green so far. Wow, it is really hard to get just little fingers done. Painted green, just the fingers. It's not even a lot of fingers, just the tip of them. Oh wow, I haven't actually painted his head yet, which I find surprising. There we go. Gotta get under his chin. Top of his nose, which is right below the mask line. It's coming out pretty nicely so far. Wow, I can't believe evil Michelangelo still looks like he's scheming up a plan. Except now it's wicked, so it kind of looks like he's scheming up a plan to kill everybody, but that's a different story. Get more of a defined tip. Because now I've got to paint the legs. Very tiny area right here. To paint right in between the legs. Because I'm trying not to touch too much else. Since there's a lot of area right there that actually isn't supposed to be painted. Except I'm dropping characters. Again. That's better. Looks very nice so far. Let's see. What part next? His toes. Yes, his toes. Well, one foot's nice and easy. The other foot's somewhat nice and easy. He looks very nice so far. And this is almost an hour-long stream. So far. And all I've done is paint 3 turtles black and green. Now I'm about to do a 4th. Donatello. He's an interesting one mainly because he's got a very, very long mask. And he actually doesn't show the lower half of his face. Evil Donatello is so shy. Or self-conscious about his evil looks. Or maybe he just is the quiet one. Who knows? If they were raised by Shredder, they could turn out like anything. Just going very carefully. Because little tiny areas with very little space. Now his arms. There is very little room on his arms to actually paint. Truthfully, I don't see any spots on his arm to actually paint. There's a little area right there. And this kind of looks like part of an arm. Well, I did anything I don't like. Okay, so maybe I did paint a little bit too much green. That's fine, I've been there before. Apparently the fine tipness of my brush is fading. It's really hard to see on this arm because there is like none and the arm's pulled so close to the body. Ah, here it is. There's a little tiny strip, I believe. Right there. A little bit of area right there. A little bit of area in the front there. But besides that, that's the only thing green on his arm. Right there, at least. He does have fingers. Not much of his fingers, but he does have fingers. us see, let us see. Here we go with that hand. Crap, I can't see this one. It's very hard to see. Now his thighs. He doesn't have much of his thigh showing, actually. That normally happens, especially with these very self-conscious turtles. If only his bow staff would stop getting in the way. I was right about the very little space. But it's working out fairly well, actually. And his toes, right? His little tiny toes. And there we go. All the turtles are painted. Well, base black and then some green. Now the question is, should I do silver next or red next? Based on this, it kind of looks like I should do silver first. Yep. And back to Leonardo while the green dries. And I pull out our next color. Silver. Considering they all wear a very shiny type of silver, we're going to use my very lightest layering silver. My layering silver is also very runny. A very, very runny color indeed. Though sometimes just a little bit works. Based on the color of this, I might end up having to do 2 layers. Mainly because I want the sword to actually look nice. And other parts too, considering. These people wear lots of silverish colored armor. But it just depends on how much silver you want to add, since they're such watery colors for me. But like I said, I normally add 2 layers when it comes to silver items. And since there's so much silver armor on all these 3 characters, I'm probably going to paint them all like 1 layer first to begin with, and then I'll add another layer. Since I do want it to be kind of bright silver. But not so bright that it's kind of overpowering. gonna need a second coating. Okay. Looks like the knee pads are silver. So are the shin pads. Or technically, I guess this is what you would just call ninja pads, but they're not exactly, considering I don't know what the turtle term for those is, but could just still be nin and she, who knows. I certainly don't. I'm not a veterinarian. Neither do I work with turtles. And then there's another strip on the top of his shoes. Oh, this is going to be so fun to paint later when I've got to overlap red connected to said silver items. My interesting thing is, I'm not sure if both hands are supposed to have metal pieces on them. This one doesn't look, it has like a piece to it, but there's no mention of it in his picture. And ow, my back wants to crack. There's have little metal buttons on the front of his outfit. They're supposed to be silver, so we'll get those too. Little bitty buttons, and there's so going to be a second layer. Now we're going to let you dry, since all of you are going to need a second layer of paint by the time I'm done. Since I don't have a dark enough silver color for you guys. Starting with the size, since those are the most iconic silvery color items that Raphael has ever held, would be his size. And probably will stay forever his size, because Raphael in his size is like Leonardo with at least one katana. It's a common weapon. Never leave home without your nunchucks, Michelangelo would say. Except he's probably left home without them a couple times. But that's because he's Michelangelo. It's nice, bright, and colorful. No, none of them are nice, bright, or colorful. They're all evil, and they wear very dark colors. I'd probably wear a very similar wardrobe to them. But yeah, with all these very, very dark colors, who knows? I might just have to try and make their armor for Halloween. Wouldn't do it. I wouldn't wear it, but I might try. Be a fun project. See if you can create evil turtle armor. Though, truthfully, it's kind of like making a giant turtle shell and then foot ninja armor, so if anything, I'd make Karai's armor. At least hers makes more sense. But at least it just does to me. But I'm called Strange for reasons, so. Well, working down the legs, Raphael isn't as much of a pain to try and paint the feet. Because he's not standing in some awkward position where he can't reach the frickin' feet. looks good. And hold on 1 second, folks. I've got to check something. After I get my brush out of the water, because I learned my lesson. Don't leave your brush in the water. Thank you very, very much for waiting patiently for me. I somehow managed to unplug the computer. And I kind of don't want it dying in the middle of a stream. That's not a very good idea. But here's our partly silvery Raphael that really needs a second coat of silver. Actually, all these characters are going to so need a second coat of silver. It's kind of hard not to when your weaponry is made out of silver. Most of your armor is made out of silver. So it kind of makes sense. If only their armor would try the way I want it to. Though I had to paint their chains all silver. Though I'm probably so gonna have to dry brush these later. Who knows? Well, it's definitely looking nice, so I think I put way too much silver. On Michelangelo's chains up here, but that's fine. It's probably a good thing if I do it now, because then I don't have to put some heavy layer later. Especially with how watery this mixture is. But either way, it's starting to look nice. Well, the colors are starting to pop out a bit more, but I definitely can't wait till the red comes into play, because barely showing silver and dark green don't go very well over top of black or near black. Because it's just not showing a whole lot. Like, on screen, you can definitely tell there's a contrast between the green and the black, but since there's so little green, you can barely see any of it. This one's straightforward, at least. Shoulder pads. Hand pieces. Knee gear. Shin gear. Turtle foot gear. More knee gear. More shin gear. And more foot gear. And wow, that's actually it for Donatello. Well, let's see how well Leonardo's drying so that I can add a second layer of silver to him. Well, he definitely looks better with the second layer. His armor doesn't look pale, and you can definitely see the contrast difference. Though in the camera light, his silver armor actually is looking... It's a lot easier to see silver armor on camera in some places and harder in others. But that makes sense. Because silver is so liquidy. Just need to spruce up the shin pads and the knee pads. And the sword looks a little dingy. Hello. Good night. I think the turtles are coming along very nicely. Though I definitely say they definitely needed that second layer of silver. The weapons are popping out so much more now. And they don't look like they're made of stone. Which is quite useful. Especially since it's all they looked like before. So adding a little bit more contrast to the colors isn't a bad thing. Definitely makes them stand out just a slight bit more. Well, that's it for Raphael. For some reason, Leonardo is harder to do when painting him silver. Okay, I gotta say, I really hate how the chain turned out on Michelangelo. I really do. The lower one was fine, but the upper one just doesn't look right. Getting some of the silveriness out, and we're still gonna just dry brush it because I really don't like the way it's coming out. And dry brushing it's probably gonna be easier in the long run for that because with how liquid this is asking more like shade and just getting into the crevices. Well, specifically on the chain it is, on other parts it's working very well to do what I want it to do. At least in most cases. In other cases, it hates me. But that's fine. Things gotta hate occasionally, especially paint. And paint's allowed to hate me because I butcher it. You should see my leg after I paint a birdhouse. Wow, is it colorful. Well, that should be all the silver I need for this. But before I go any further, mainly because the chain is going to annoy the heck out of me, I'm going to grab my silver and my dry silver and my dry brush. So just gonna get a little bit of my brush and fix the chain. because it is so going to annoy me until I fix it. Except, again, there's so much liquid in it that it just doesn't want. To be the way I want it. Why do you hate me so? Okay, that's better at least. The dry brush works better that way. Okay, that fixes my problem with Michelangelo now with silver. I think the other characters came along pretty nicely. You can definitely see the silver on their outfits now. Though our camera is sometimes pretty bad, but you can see the shoulder plates, and the shin ones are harder to see, so we can see them. Now the fun color. Trying to paint them partly red. Since they have red armor too. Red scarves, red attachment. Parts of the belts are red. Lots of things. Lots of little tiny detail are freaking red. It's going to be interesting. Now, starting with Leonardo. The first major red aspect is the scarf around his neck. The barely visible scarf around his neck. Though it's really visible once you paint it. Little tiny details, right? Well, deviation turtles don't look as bad as they sometimes do. And a much finer point. For red scarf, let's see. Two of the black bandages on his arm are actually red. Not sure which ones exactly, so we're just gonna paint two random ones. This one too will do. So he has two red straps on his arm. He's got three red straps attached to his shredder gear. Just like that. Oh, here's some really tiny detail. There are little red strings on the side of his suit. which are barely noticeable, but I'm still trying to paint them for some reason. Then, like, all of the bags on his belt are red. Just like this. He's definitely starting to come together the way I want him to. And he does have a little tiny dagger right here. But we're going to fix that later with black. I'm going to give it a nice, pretty red handle. Because I think it's better with the red handle. And then for other parts that are red on him, on his shoulder piece he's supposed to have a foot ninja symbol, but since there's not one already drawn there, I'm still going to add one. Adding something that's not there. It's pretty hard, actually. That's my best foot symbol. Then let's see. Each one of the pads on his legs are attached with more red. One for the knee, two for the shin, oh, way too much paint, don't brush right there. And then one for the shoe buckle. I'm not exactly sure what this is, so we're just adding it. Yeah, it's just like a little strip, and I'm not really sure where it is, since where the red is on the shoe, where the shoe part of it is really hard to tell. Okay. The knee one's harder to see, so it's just gonna partly go in, but you're not gonna see the opposite end of it. And then we're just gonna make one of these random straps in the back of the shin. Another shin strap. This is my almost finished product of Leonardo. Only thing missing is the whiteness of his eyes and fixing up any spots that I accidentally painted black. Now before I go any farther, because I messed something up and it's going to annoy me until I fix it, Because I accidentally painted part of his armor red. When it should really be silver. It's going to annoy me until I fix it. Though, since red is such a deep color, it's probably not going to fix much, but whatever. I tried. And because I kind of just want one of my characters at least done, we're going to get silver out. I mean, white out. To fill in for his eyes. There's holes where his eyes are supposed to go, but they're so hard to see. Wow, such little eye holes. There. Here's nice, bright, white eyes. I made them a little too big, but that's fine. But while I've got a bunch of extra white on my brush, might as well put the other guy's eyes in. So... yeah, just give him nice, big, huge white eyes. Ours did pretty well on Michelangelo's. Donnie's don't look great, but that's fine. But, I just did all of their eyes. Now to continue Raphael with red. He's also got a scarf. Let's see. And his little bags on the front of his belt. This guy actually has foot ninja symbols on his medal engraved, which is different from the other ones. I wonder why. This is just a small oversight in all the other ones. all I know is he has it. The rest of the handle of the sides are actually red. Then he also has straps on his shoes, like Leonardo did. Except they don't show the one for his knee. And they actually only have them for his shin guards. There we go. It's a little bit messy, but it'll work. There we go. And that's pretty much all the red on Raphael. On to Michelangelo. Okay, so the handle of his nunchucks are red. There we go. There we go, much better. For one set of nunchucks. They're almost better for the other set now. Well, he's definitely looking a lot better now. And he has straps to the armor on his hands. Oops, that was a mishap. That's better. And he actually has no red going from his shoes, though the pouches on him are also... His string and pouches are also red. He's got two pouches on the very far ends, and some on his back. I realize now I probably didn't paint the ones on all the turtles' backs. There we go. looks so much better. With a bit more color. Oop, and I almost forgot to do his scarf. Don't want to do Mrs. Scarf, considering it's like one of the only clear aspects of his chest piece, because he doesn't have pouches in the front. All he has is a red scarf. Okay, then on to Donatello. Start with the legs. You okay? That looks much better. Now you need the lower strap. There we go for the lower straps. His staff is actually painted red in the middle. It's really hard to paint the middle of his staff entirely red. This is round. And because I kind of do want just a little bit of red to pop out. Put some right here too. And on the exact opposite side as well. Still have to paint his staff red, but we'll get to that. Donatello also has foot ninja symbols on his shoulder, though they're technically not there, and I don't like that, so I'm gonna give him the little mini ones. Because I can, at least on one shoulder. The other one's way too hard to see, so. He's got a pouch that can be painted. And that will do. Oh wait, nope, not yet. I'm missing a scarf. Which I really shouldn't miss, considering it's covering most of his face. There we go. Donatello. Though he's not entirely finished because he's of all the characters, he's the only one with a wooden weapon. So I'm gonna actually get the brown out for wood. Paint his bow staff brown. This little bit's gonna go a really long way though, so. There we go. Now, any finalizing details? Oh, wait. There is one thing that I'm missing from all turtles. Is that, for some reason, their entire back shell is black. And most of their front shell is black. But the lower part of their front shell, below their utility belt, is not black. It's a normal yellowish-orange color. Which I find strange to no end, but I'm still going to put it. It gives them just a little bit more character. Considering I also painted most of those areas green when I painted the legs. So a little bit of color won't hurt anybody. Actually did a lot more damage than I thought I would because I ended up painting part of the leg and something else I kind of didn't want yellow. Oh well, I just be more careful. Oh, that one's good. Raphael is fine too. And there we go for Leonardo. So, no, there are at least two things I know I'm going to need to fix on two separate characters. Leonardo got some red on his arm. Just need to clear that up. And I did hit part of his leg during the painting of the weird yellow part on him. For Donatello, I kind of just missed it entirely. I think that's it for green. Switching to black. I so need to get new black. I'm actually running low somehow. Because I prime everything by hand. And for black, again with Leonardo. Didn't notice earlier that he has a dagger on his hip. Apparently I had too much liquid on my brush and it just became pure water pretty much. Which did not look good. We also need the black for Donatello. That's supposed to be red, we're just gonna fill it in black. For the weird area below the utility belt that got painted yellow. Since all the characters have to dry from that last little bit, and then I need to shade them. Since I do it very differently from other people, I do not do the things in order, as most people would. It's normally base, shade, layer, but I normally do base, layer, shade, and then dryer. Depends on wherever I put dry. For these guys, since you all got black detail, like, literally it's black everything, think we're just gonna stick a black shade. So we're gonna begin with the other two since Donatello and Leonardo got a little bit extra. Definitely gonna need a little bit of extra shade on Michelangelo's weaponry. And shell. Obviously gonna need some extra shade on the shell. And then you're gonna need some more for the chain to add some depth. Now he can start drawing. Raphael's up next. Start with his torso and move downward. Well, actually, I'll just start from top to bottom. And hitting his legs now. And he's looking quite stylish. And Raphael's done shading. I guess we'll move down to Leonardo. Get some paint for his torso. We need enough so that it can seep into the pores, so apparently I made a mess up with the back shell. Oh well, I'm not gonna fix it tonight if I ever fix it. Knowing me, I'll probably forget about it until I look at it later. Then finish up with Donatello. Okay. All done, his upper body's done. Now to the lower. Front and back. Now all four of them have to dry. And that is going to be the end of my stream for tonight. I hope everybody had fun. Thank you, Brush for Hire, for following. Thank you for anybody else who was watching me tonight paint Evil Turtles, the Deviations pack. And I hope everybody enjoyed. This is Day After the Gaming. It's also Kat's Corner for today. And I'm Kat, and keep on gaming day after day. And I hope you all have a good rest of your night. I'm probably going to go pass out in bed after washing my paint-covered hands. Meh, it happens. Anyways, I need to repaint my nails. So, good night, everybody, and see you on my next, see you on my next stream.